Sufism is a living tradition. It's meant to be lived. It's meant to be experienced. And that's one of the things that makes it unique, is that it's not simply a doctrine that you can memorize and that you've understood it. But it's really a teaching on the nature of the self and the nature of reality that needs to be put into practice until one realizes it experientially. And one of the words that is often used for this experience is dhawq, which means taste. And taste is a profound analogy, because if I were to tell you about honey, but you had never tasted honey, I could say it's sweet like sugar, it's thick like molasses. And that would give you a sense, it would at least point in a direction, but it would not give you the taste of honey. Nothing would give you the taste of honey except for tasting honey. And were you to study about honey and read all the books about honey and even do your PhD dissertation about honey and write about the chemical compounds and the different bees that pollinate this flower in this region and what type of honey that produces, etc., but you never tasted honey, you wouldn't really understand honey. It's really about taste. It's about experience. And so though the theory is important and the teachings are important, they just set the groundwork for us to put into practice. And so this course is going to be theory and practice. It's going to be the knowledge and the action, inshallah. So to speak about that, one of the places that the Sufis often start is the famous story in the Quran, in Surah Al-Kahf, of Moses and Khidr. Khidr is the green man, and he's this mystical individual who is mentioned in the Quran, and there's all this debate: was he a prophet, was he a saint, was he a sage? But this idea is that Moses was told, Moses being the great prophet, but also this exemplar of the law, right? He brings the commandments. He was told that there is one who has a type of knowledge that he did not yet know. And so Moses, being a true seeker and a paragon of prophetic knowledge, wants to seek him out. Well, if there's a knowledge and there's a knower that I have not met and that I do not know, I wish to know. And so it is told to him that he will meet this individual at the Majma' al-Bahrain, the meeting of the two oceans, the two seas. In the Quran, Surah Al-Kahf, there is the verse, "There they found a servant of ours, that we had granted mercy from us," rahmah, from us, "and enlightened with our own knowledge, min laduna ilman." So this ilm al-laduni, this is enlightening knowledge from Allah, right? This is a type of knowledge that Allah has gifted to certain people. Moses said to him, "May I follow you? Provided that you teach me some of the right guidance you had been taught, the rushda." He said, Khidr responds, "You certainly cannot be patient with me. And how can you be patient with what is beyond your realm of knowledge or your realm of awareness?" The word khubra, one of the divine names, al-khabir, the aware. So here this sets up the framework for Sufism in relation to the broader Islamic tradition. And of course, Moses represents the Sharia, the sacred law, the commandments that one must implement to live a righteous life. And the Sufis, of course, put this into practice and honor this, but they say this is just the outer dimension. One must then take the inner path, which is the tariqah. The tariqah is the inner path or the inner journey, which is the journey of polishing the heart, transforming one's inner states, one's inner consciousness. You could think of this as if the Sharia relates to our outer being and our outer actions, the tariqah relates to our inner states, our inner actions, our thoughts, our words, our intentions, as well as our qualities of character, right? Are we generous or are we stingy? Are we courageous or are we cowardly, right? Are we willing good for other beings or are we jealous and filled with avarice, etc.? The purification of the heart is what we're talking about. And then this sharia and this tariqah combined lead one to haqiqah, reality. And this is essentially what the Sufi path is about, is the meeting of these two seas, Majma al-Bahrain, of the outward and the inward, which leads to realization.